Grab your print or digital copy of Go Queen magazine today. Stay inspired by the incredible stories and features inside. Visit our website to grab your copy now. Welcome back to the Q Chat, where we celebrate incredible women who are making their mark and spreading a powerful message of self-love, empowerment, and resilience.
She's a queen about her business, working hard on a mission. Head high, purpose driven, crown on, never tilted. Go queen. Go queen. Go queen. Go queen.
So thank you guys for joining another episode of the Q Chat. Today, my very special guest is Miss Courtney Smith. And Courtney is an entrepreneur. She's also a speaker. She inspires other women. And she has this amazing business called Christina's Curls. So we're going to talk about her beginnings and how she started this amazing business. And also she has some other good gems that she offers to inspire women, especially entrepreneurs and people trying to live their dreams. So we're going to chat it up about all these different things. And of course, our favorite topic, self-love. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest. So I wanted to start off. I know that some people refer to you as the modern day Madam C.L. Walker. So I know that you have
Okay.
hometown roots from my hometown of New Orleans. I know you're currently in Atlanta. So I wanted to start off. I like to always get people's beginnings, their backgrounds, because our childhoods and how we were raised, it's the crust of what we are today. So I wanted to start off with your beginnings on your upbringing and what things in your childhood and in your early beginnings led to your career right now?
So, yes, I do have family. My dad's family's from New Orleans. My mom's family's from Alabama. So I grew up in Alabama till I was about 5 or 6, but we always go home. Mardi Gras. We're always in between Alabama and New Orleans. And I actually was in New Orleans this summer for Essence Festival. I had a speaking engagement there. But just I've always been in beauty, skincare, making my own products, my own hair products. That's just always been something I enjoy doing. So I knew when I graduated from high school that I wanted to go into the beauty industry. So I went to school for aesthetics. And when I told my family I'm going to school to be an esthetician, they were like, oh my God, that fits you. Like nothing else that fits you. So I've been in the beauty industry for a very, very long time. Very long time, yes.
So speaking of, I know that your roots with skincare fit in perfectly because I was reading through my research that you experienced eczema and cradle cap after the birth of your third child, which birthed Christina's Curls, and also looking in your information that you're married to a chemist. So this was a perfect storm for you to come up with this business. So can you give us the background on how you came up with Christina's Curls?
Right. So before I had Christina, I owned a day spa. It was called Beauty and Grace Day Spa. So that was like my first baby. I closed it down. My husband and I decided to grow our family. So I was focusing solely on, expanding our family along with the other two children that we have. And then we had Christina 3 weeks before COVID lockdown. Okay. We had our third baby, and she immediately started experiencing cradle cap and eczema about 5 or 6 weeks old. So, mind you, it was the middle of COVID. It was so hard to get in to see doctors. When they did see her, by her being so young, one of them was like, you just got to ride it out. We're not going to give her anything. They had bigger fish to fry as far as, dealing with COVID and things like that. And then another dermatologist gave me an ointment to use on her. And when I did my research on the ointment, I was like, there is no way I am putting this on my newborn baby. I'm just not doing it. So I was talking to my husband one day. I was so frustrated. I was like, doctors don't seem to know what to do. I did not experience cradle cap or eczema with my first two children. So this was new to me. And my husband he said, well, why don't you just make her something? Like, this is what you do. Why don't you just make her something? And I promise you, it was like a light bulb went off. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Because, like I said, I had my own day spa, I had my own product line, but I focused on adults. So it never crossed my mind at that moment to create something for children. But in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm not getting the answers I want. I'm not getting the response I want. So I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I did. I pulled out my books. I started researching the ingredients, oils that helped with eczema and cradle cap. And I just started working.
Wow, that's something else. So I want to ask you, of course, with creating the products, and I know, like you mentioned, the ointment that you were originally given, the products were like, there's no way, that this would be appropriate for a small child. So can you tell us just about the importance of the products that you use to make sure that they're safe? And I know obviously it's for young children and everything. So can you tell us just about the importance of the products that you use and also give us some insight on what types of products that you use as well with the ingredients?
Yeah, well, I experienced a shift in my life about 10 years ago when I had leukemia.
Mm,
So, for the past 10 years, along with me being in the beauty industry, health became really important to me. What I was putting on my body, what I was putting on the inside of my body. So when I had my baby, naturally I was looking at what am I giving her? What am I putting on her? And not to say that the ointment probably wouldn't have worked, but the side effects that comes along with it,
mm,
it was not worth the risk to me.
mm,
So my products, of course, you have to use some sort of preservative with anything that you have, but I use very gentle preservatives. I use organic essential oils, butters. All of my products are third party tested, and they're specifically formulated for children. I have three different collections, and the first one is for newborns to 6 months. So I have certifications and testing that's just for newborns, and then I have another collection that's for 6 months and up. So that's what I do. I focus on good, organic, clean ingredients that moms can feel safe with putting on their babies.
mm. Wow, that's something else. Now, I know just that from what we were reading that in 2023 last year that you guys hit over $1 million mark. So, can you give us some insight? Because like, obviously, there's a lot of different entrepreneurs out here, people who want to just learn how to not only start a business but be successful at it and learn how to scale it. So, what are some of the things that you learned from starting this business, just having this inception that came from a good idea from your spouse and your experience with your baby? How did you go from
Mhm.
there to where you are now? And I know that's probably a huge stretch of a question,
Woo,
but
it is.
but just give us some
A
insight
lot of
on.
so a lot of trial and error. The first year was easy breezy. The first year we did like 707 and some change 100,000. Our first year in business, and but getting to that $1 million mark, oh baby, that was some work. Okay,
Mhm,
they always say
mhm,
the first million is the hardest because
yeah,
you're learning what works, what does not work, what do I invest, in paid marketing. We didn't even do paid marketing the first year. Everything was word of mouth. We had a couple of videos on TikTok go viral from parents who were just spreading the world, spreading the word to the world,
mhm,
and it just took off. But that second year to get to that $1 million mark, oh, that was some work.
mhm,
It was some work. I hired a team. I had to have a team at that point because you can't do everything yourself. So I had to bring on operations manager. I had to bring on a marketing team that only focused on, my emails. And then I had a marketing team, or I have a marketing team that focuses on my paid ads and my Google ads. So to get to $1 million, you have to delegate. You have to have a clear goal in mind of where you see your business and where you see yourself, and you have to take action.
mhm. Wow.
Yes.
So, what advice do you have? Because, again, I think with business, obviously, entrepreneurship and just having a vision, having a dream, sometimes people maybe they go through a lot of changes, as we well know. You start the business, sometimes it's not
Right.
successful, or maybe that first year you may not make the money that you wanted to make, or maybe that second year after struggling the first year, you make the funds in the second year, but then you find that you have to spend a ton of it in the third year. There's so many different changes and complexities with being a business owner. And sometimes I feel that sometimes people may struggle with consistency sometimes, and they may struggle in the time period sometimes where the sales may not be where they want them to be, or some of the work is harder. What are some of the things that you've learned that you offer to encourage people to just stick with their vision, and also just stay motivated during the times where things may not work out the way they anticipate them to?
Well, I'm very strong in my faith. So when it's something I don't understand, I immediately go into prayer. I'm like, okay, God, you put this business in my lap, literally. I was not looking to start a business. So I'm like, you brought this business to me. You're going to bring the help that I need. You're going to bring the venture capital. You're going to bring the resources that I need. So I'm always in prayer. I'm always, trying to figure out, okay, what's the next move. But just know that as you take those steps, the resources will come. People love helping. People love seeing, other businesses, especially Black owned businesses. I've gotten so much help and so much resources from other small business owners on what do I take next? What steps do I
Mhm.
take next? How do I scale my business? So the biggest thing is just keep going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, knowing that the resources that I need, the answers that I need, they're going to come to me in perfect time.
Mhm.
Yes.
Wow. So I was reading too that with the research something about bootstrapping to success, that you built your business without a
Ooh,
lot of external funding. And so I wanted to ask
yeah.
you, what are some of the lessons that you learned with bootstrapping? Because a lot of times when people are starting businesses, it's not as easy as people think. Meaning sometimes you'll have somebody on the outside saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be using your own money, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Those rules don't apply to everyone. Everyone has their own, I think, set of rules that may work for them. What work for this business owner may not work for that one, and that's totally fine. So, what are some of the things you learn in bootstrapping to success?
I think bootstrapping is a great um, idea. I think it's a great method in the beginning because before you start taking out loans and investors getting a part of your business, you need to know, okay, this is something I really want to take serious. We're still
Mm,
bootstrapping. We don't have any investors. We're
mm,
making a lot of sacrifices on the back end to get our business where we want to go. But those loans start coming in, oh, that's a whole different that's a whole different ball game. And even with investors, once you start having investors and you're taking their money, you now have to take their input. And they
mm,
may not have the same vision. They may not have the same goal that you have for your business. So you're getting the money at what sacrifice.
mm,
So I tell people, as long as you're bootstrapping, count your coins. I
mm,
pay every credit card bill. I pay every employee. I know where my coins are going, and
mm,
I hold my marketing team accountable. Hey, if I'm spending 4,000 on email marketing, I need to be making 10. So I set goals for them. This is what's going out. This is what I expect to come in. So I just bootstrapping. Watch where your money is going. Absolutely.
mm. That's really good
And we're
advice. And you
still
mentioned
bootstrapping.
something. I heard that. But you mentioned something really interesting, because I
Mhm.
know like there's a lot of chatter that happens when Black owned beauty brands sell their brands or maybe bring in big investors. Sometimes people have mixed feelings about that, especially from the consumers. And what's your thoughts on, I guess, because just from what we've seen in other people that have added in bigger companies, you know, with their beauty brands, and it's been like a mixed bag, I guess I would say, with the consumer. Sometimes they feel like, oh, well, you know, you're selling it out like this is supposed to be for us. Is it, how do you think it's, how can they merge still having the support? Because I know, like you said, like you guys are bootstrapping, but for some people, you know, they choose not to. They do want to get in those other investors, but they also sometimes may risk the support from their community because they kind of feel like, oh, you're not being authentic anymore. Is there any type of bridge possible to have to just keep that support going?
You know what? I don't know. I think you have to be a business owner and you have to have built something and scaled a business to even understand the positions that companies are putting selling their business or bringing in certain people. You're pretty much a worker while
Mm,
you're owning that business. You're not seeing all of your money, all of your funds until you exit, you know,
mm,
and you just never really know what someone's goal is. My goal right now is to just continue to pour into Christina's Pearl and grow my brand. I'm only in year 4. I might not
right.
feel that way in year 10. You know, I may
Mm,
not want to still be overseeing and managing people day to day, hands on the brand in 10 years. You know, I think it really depends on the goal of the individual. You know, a lot of people don't want to sell their business. They have to. They have to
mm,
choose between going bankruptcy and filing bankruptcy and making zero from it or
mm,
selling it. You know, so it's so hard. It's not a black and white. It's a lot of gray area in between that. But I've just been really blessed that year 4 we are able to still own Christina's Curl 100% and still be able to scale and grow our business. I'm so thankful for that.
that's awesome. Now, I
Yes.
know that you obviously have a family and you're a mother, a wife. So I wanted to ask you, how do you balance? Because I mean, I would think you're pretty busy, you know, with
Oh
your
yeah.
business. So how do you balance everything,
Yes.
taking care of yourself, being a mother, a wife, and being a business owner? How do you balance and just get some peace for yourself too, and also give to your family?
Let me tell you, that first year having a new baby, being in COVID, having a at the time my daughter was 16, having a high schooler at home, a 6-year old, 5-year old in pre-K and growing a business, that first year, it's like a blur. I don't even remember it. I don't even remember it. But that second year, I was like, okay, this ain't that. I'm not living like this, you know, just waking up and just not knowing where the day is going. So I'm very big on having systems and delegating.
Mm,
My team knows this is what I expect. This is how I like for my business to flow. Everybody has a job. At any point I have to start doing your job, we have a problem. You
mm,
know, my kids, they get out of school, they only do half days. So they get out of school early, and my phone is at 2 o'clock. My employees know if it's not an emergency, the warehouse is not burning down, do not call me. Okay.
mm,
Y'all, you know what to do. So I think it's just a matter of delegating and having people in positions that know how to run the business like you run it.
mm.
That's a very important. You have to have people in positions that are well trained and know what to do. Absolutely.
Mm. Having a
Yes.
team is just very valuable. So that does make a
Oh,
lot of sense. Now, I wanted to ask you about one thing I read about you, that your mission is to do more, be more, and achieve more. So I know you also are a public speaker. You do pour into other women. So can we get some insight on that mission of do more, be more, and achieve more?
yes. And when I say do more, I definitely want to be that voice for other women because after down my day spa, I was a stay-at-home mom, you know, for years. And I understand when you're in that position, like, okay, do I pour more in them? Do I the goals that I wanted. We're so torn between being a mom and being a wife and still showing up for ourselves and still accomplishing the goals that we have. So I want to be that inspiration and that voice to other women that you can have it all. You can have a great
Mm.
marriage. You can have a great relationship with your children and be present. You can accomplish your goals, whether it's go back to school or the career or start the business. I want them to look at me and say, you know what? She did that. And if she can do it, I can do it as well.
Mm.
Yes.
And I love that you said that because sometimes we don't realize our lives really are an example to others, whether we realize that or not. Like how we live represents something special for other people. And what I mean by special, it's not even about necessarily saying, hey, I have this business that works out, but saying, hey, I have a successful relationship, I have a successful marriage, I have beautiful children that I can give myself to is an accomplishment in itself. And sometimes women need to see that because they may feel like they don't have it together. So sometimes it's so important to just be able to be a steward and to help other people to say, hey, this is how I did it, and this is how I can stay
Yeah.
whole in that process. So, what have been some of the challenges you may have had, doing your business or just in general that you have to overcome? I know you mentioned you also overcame leukemia, and that's something I must have missed in my research. But what
Yeah.
have been some of the challenges that you've overcome?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge that a lot of mothers have to overcome if they're going to have a business or a career or whatever it is the mom guilt.
Mm,
I had a lot of mom guilt at first. It was like when I was raising two babies at one time, Christina and Christina's curls. So whenever I had to be away from Christina, it was like, I'm leaving my baby for a business, and then I just had to look at the bigger picture. When I would come back, I was more fulfilled. I felt like I had done something for me. I had my me time, even though it was only 2 or 3 hours, but I just had to realize that one day she's going to see the sacrifice that I made, all the milestones and the accomplishments that I've done. And that's going to make her proud. And she's going to see, you know what? My mom did this. My mom started this business for me, or the solution for me, and she built it from the ground up. So whenever that mom guilt starts to sink in, I'm like, no, she's going to thank me one day. She's going to see when she gets to that point in her life where she's married and she has children, she's going to remember, hey, my mom did it and I turned out just fine, or my mom did it and I know I can do it. So that's been my biggest challenge, aside from just learning the market of business, learning as I go, because having a service business like I had before versus a product is very, very different. But that mom guilt had me in a chokehold in the beginning.
wow. I definitely can't imagine because I know being a mother itself is a full-time career. So
It
when you add
is.
a business to it, it's like it's a lot. So I definitely understand as well having three children. So something
Yes.
else that I read that was amazing about you is that you have a motto of live your life out loud. So I wanted to get some more insight on that philosophy on what do you mean by live your life out loud. So definitely give us some inspiration with that.
Let me tell you, I'm a rebel. Okay, I do what works for me.
Mm,
So when I say live your life out loud, it's be you,
mm,
unapologetically you. Whether it's how you dress, how
mm,
you speak, how you carry yourself, just leave your mark wherever you go. Don't
mm,
water it down. Don't try to dumb it down. Oh, this person. No, this is me. You either accept it or you don't.
mm.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it because you know what? So many people, even, and I'm over 40, so many women, even over 40, are still trying to find themselves and they still may be shackled in chains of, oh, well, they got to worry about what other people think. And just like you said, from how they speak, how they dress, what they do, just everything, like they still are in chains. So I love how you mentioned just to be unapologetic, because so it can hold you back. And sometimes
It
people don't
can.
even realize, like you're so immersed in what someone else thinks, or you're just afraid to just, like you said, live out loud, live in your own truth
Right.
and do what works, as you said, for you. It's not for anybody else. So that is something that we definitely can't take for granted.
Because
So I love that.
yeah, when you think about it, the people who are giving their opinions, they're going to give their opinion, and then what they're going to do, go live their life how they want to. You get
Exactly.
it? Like they're going to tell you, oh, you should do this. And then they're going to go on about their merry old way and do what they want to do. So guess what? I do what works for me. I do what works for my marriage. I raise my children how I choose to.
Mm,
And like I said, I'm always in communication with God. So if it feels right, if I feel like, hey, this is the direction I'm supposed to be going, I don't look for outside um, praise from other people that are not where I want to be.
ugh,
Yes,
exactly. That outside praise will stop you from achieving your goals and will stop you from
it
living
will.
your best life. If it ain't
It
from
will.
God, that's the only person that we should be focused on pleasing. But I think this
That's it.
world is so worldly, especially with social media too. We want to please everybody. We want to fit in crowds that we're not even supposed to be in. Like,
Right.
and we don't comprehend that sometimes. Like, why are you trying to get validation from something that is probably beneath you? But sometimes we don't
Yeah.
see that sometimes. So I just love the whole notion of living out loud. Because when we don't live out loud, we live dull. We don't achieve
Yeah.
our
And trying to
dreams.
be liked, trying to be liked by people who don't even like themselves. It's like
Right.
you don't even like where you are in life. So why am I looking to you for my validation? No, ma'am. No,
Exactly.
ma'am.
Exactly. With your
Yes.
speaking and just how you inspire other women, what have been some of the highlights, outside, like you said, from being a businesswoman? I know that speaking is something important for you and inspiring other women. What have been some of the highlights and how you pour to others?
So one of the things that I did this year, I was at Essence Festival. I did not vend. I was not selling my products there, but I had a speaking engagement. And my daughter, who was 20 at the time, was able to be there with me. She spent the whole weekend with me. And just to see her and hear her tell me how proud of me she was, and for her to be center, seeing me accomplish my goals, that was the best feeling ever. I'm like, not only am I pouring into other women and other businesses, I'm pouring into my own daughter. You
Mm,
know, I'm pouring into them. I'm planting that seed on the inside of them that, hey, I got this. My mom did it. She made the blueprint for me.
mm,
So it's an amazing feeling to be able to share your gift.
mm.
It is. It's an amazing feeling.
I love it. Do you have any advice for people who, like I said, I think sometimes we don't realize, even as older women, some people still struggle with self esteem. They struggle with confidence. As we just said, some people are so focused on being liked, or just fitting in crowds that really aren't for them to begin with, because they don't necessarily know themselves. Do you have any advice for
Mhm.
people on just how to build their confidence and how to they can start now? You know what I'm saying? Any advice on, it doesn't matter what stage you're in life now, you can be that person. If you're immersed in trying to be well liked, maybe today is the day to start a new plan, a new cycle. Do you have any advice for people that just want to just get out of this whole validation, worldly
Yeah.
validation, and just start fresh?
I would say work on liking yourself first.
Mm,
Okay. And what I mean by that, if it's your appearance, if you don't like you feel like you're overweight or underweight, whichever one it may be, then start working out. Do stuff that's going to make you feel good. Hey, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I feel like I don't look good in pictures, or whatever the case may be. Focus, start exercising, even if it's walking. Do stuff to help you like yourself, and not just makeup or hair or anything. Stuff that's really gonna add to your life, your health, your well-being. So the first thing is liking yourself, because once you're like, I look good, I feel good, what the next person thinks doesn't you, because you already know who you are. You already know I am exactly who I think I am. I always tell my girlfriends, hey, if you're feeling, not attractive, what is it that you want to do? You want to lose weight? Okay. Start working out, start walking, start eating better. And those things, exercising, eating better, those are naturally going to lift your mood. That's naturally going to make you feel better, feel lighter, and feel better about yourself. So I say work on liking you first.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. So I do want to ask you, what are some things you do to cater to your mental health? Because I know you're a business owner, wear many different hats. Mental health, of course, is super important. So what are some things you do to cater to your mental health?
So one of the things that I do is I wake up 2 hours before everybody else. And I've worked on this for a couple of years. Before it was an hour, and I was like, that ain't enough time. So, if I know I'm getting the kids up at 7, I get up at 5 o'clock. And it was hard at first. Okay.
Mm,
It was hard at first. But when I wake up and the house is quiet, and I'm able to pray and get in my word and just set the tone for my day, I show up better as a mother and a wife
mm,
versus me waking up at 6:30 and immediately having to go into wife and mom mode 30 minutes later. That does
mm,
not work for me. So for my mental health, I get up before everybody else in the household. I get up, I read my word, and that just sets the tone for my day. I wake up calm. So that's one of the things that I do. And I have a shutdown ritual, I will call it, in the evenings, where I turn off my computer. I click out of all the tabs that's open, because that if I'm closing it in my computer, that means I'm closing it in my mind. I turn my work off, and I do not about work. I'm enjoying my family. I'm focused. My attention is there. I'm present. So I think starting off having some kind of ritual or morning routine in the morning and in the evening is how I tell my mind, okay, she's shutting out these tabs on the computer. That means we're done for the day. Or in the morning, it's like, okay, she's up and we're quiet. We're just sitting here, just alone, and setting the tone for my day. So I'm big on taking care of me first, because I can't be anything for anyone else if I'm scatterbrained. It just
mm.
does not work. I've tried it. I've tried
I
it.
mean,
It doesn't.
now, speaking
Mm-mm.
of taking care of yourself, one of the key factors in our platform is self love. Self love is the fuel to give us the insight that, hey, we do matter, that we can put ourselves first, that we can acknowledge that if we don't pour into ourselves, we have nothing to give to others. Self love is the key to just having a better life. So, I want to ask you, how do you define self love and what role has it played in your life?
So self love to me is keeping my commitment to myself.
Mm,
If I say I'm going to get up and work out, I want to be able to trust me. So I do that. Even if I don't want to, if I say I'm going to take a nap, just to unwind, I keep my word to myself. And I feel like that's training my mind that, hey, I'm going to follow through on whatever I say I'm going to do. And it also sets boundaries with other people, because my employees, my friends, my children, they know if mom says she's checked out, that means for the day, that means she's checked. And that keeps people from trying to get from you what you don't want to give at that moment. So I'm very big on keeping my word and keeping my commitment to myself. That's
mm.
how I demonstrate self love for me.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. So I wanted to ask you, what's next? What can we expect next for Christina's curls?
Oh, well, we have a lot of great things coming up for 2025. I'm like, okay, I know it's 2 months away, but we're getting ready to go into Black Friday. But we're on Amazon Prime now. We're going into Whole Foods. We're going into Walmart Marketplace. So we have a lot of things coming up. The biggest thing is just getting into retail. We've
Mm.
had so much progress on Shopify and online, but now we're ready to play with the big boys. Now we're ready to get into to retail stores.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I know we're going to see you in those retail stores soon, and we'll definitely be looking out. This has been an amazing conversation. Can you please leave us with a positive affirmation? It could be anything that you can think of, but just a positive affirmation to pour into our audience.
So a positive affirmation that I tell myself each and every day is if I can see it, I can do it. If I can see it in my mind, I can do it. So that's my affirmation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been an
Thank
amazing
you.
conversation again. Please tell everybody how they can find you on social media and also how they can purchase these products.
Yes, so you can purchase our products on Amazon Prime or you can go to our website, www.christinascurls.com, and you can find us on Instagram at Christina's Curls underscore and on Facebook, Christina's Curls.
Awesome. So, guys, please go ahead and support Miss Courtney. Courtney has an amazing brand, and I just love her energy and her spirit. And thank you again. As I said, this has been an amazing conversation. But, guys, please remember some of the gems that were dropped in this episode. So many. Number one, pouring into yourself. And also, if you have a dream, believe in yourself. Believe it. If you can see that dream, as she mentioned, it can happen. But also, it's never too late to just change your whole outlook, change your perspective. If there's something in your life that you don't like, as long as you have breath in your body and you're still here, God has given you another chance to change it. There's nothing holding you back but the reflection in the mirror. You can have a new life right now. You can have that business. You can look better, dress better, smell better, talk better, whatever you want. You can have better right now. So just remember to go love yourself and pour into yourself so you can have the life that you deserve right now. So thank you guys for tuning into the Q Chat. You can check out this episode and more at www.goqueen.com. Make sure you guys be safe and go love yourself.
She's a queen about a business, working hard on a